But dust, ashes, falls back to Earth, to actually reincarnate, depending on our earthly accomplishments. The purpose of reincarnation is to better and purify the energy intelligence of the soul. When this 90% pure reaches certain heights, it encounters a purer form of energy when trying to incorporate and unify with the endless light of the Creator. It is trying, for example, to connect a 100-volt cable with 10 volts. A spark will occur, rejecting contact. The soul, or energy intelligence, will circle around its level of awareness until it is attracted to a new life form, and the same is for the lower percentage forms of energy intelligence. Reincarnation starts as follows. A man and a woman are doing the act of procreating. Depending on the quality of that moment, will be the purity of the soul that is going to be attracted, like 99. Turning a radio on, depending on the channel that is going to be tuned in, will be the channel that you are going to hear. The same thing applies with humans. The moment of the act is very important to have. 1. Pure thoughts, the way love is made at that moment. In Hebrew, man and wife are called Ish. Ish and Isha, written with Hebrew Ish. Ish, man, Aleph, Yud, Shin, and Isha, woman, with Aleph, Shin, Hey. The man has Yud, Yi, and the woman, A, Ha. Those two letters forming Y, H, Ye, or the name of GD. Taking those two off when making love is taking godliness out of the love between the man and the woman, leaving only ESH, fire. That is what will be left of their love. Fire to be consumed without essence for their love to survive, or the YH, Ya, GD's essence. The best day for procreation is Saturday, for reasons I will explain further. 3. It is very important that the woman should be clean, at least for 7 days following menstruation. It is very dangerous for the newborn. See Figure 4. 100 Figure number 4. A human embryo, a brain, and an urchin egg surrounded by sperm. A human embryo in his 4-dimensional worlds, the 4 different parts of the brain. The sperm, trying to penetrate the egg, searching for life. 101. The woman after the menstruation period becomes fertile, and we know that a woman during this period goes to an unclean 7 days and could transfer to the child a perturbed energy that could cause the embryo to be born with a Down syndrome or a deformed child, as children that have progeria. Progeria, that age prematurely. It is caused by the lack of coordination between the surrounding energy intelligence, or makif, and the savorment, inner light energy, or panimi. The mass, without form, so one of the functions is being accelerated. The biological clock, in order to change the course of events. Hypnosis could be a possibility to try and reverse the process. Under hypnosis, you bring the child back to the conception stage and give to the child the actual instructions of normal growth, how to develop this connection directly to the subconscious part of the brain, plus other treatments after the hypnosis. The process will be reversed and stopped up to that point, with Gidi's grace. Through hypnosis, it is possible to project a cure for a multitude of illnesses. It's also possible using the same vehicle of hypnosis to effect a cure for different types of cancers. This can be done in a variety of scientifically accepted techniques. Photo representations or video can, on a specific progress of a particular illness or cancer, be projected and quite accurately prognoses. Furthermore, these methods can enlighten the part of the body affected. The photo representations or video illustrates the multiplied nature of the bacteria as well as how it proliferates in its ravages against the relatively unprotected host. The patient so afflicted must see these pictures or video at least in 12 separate occasions. On the following day, he is expected to return in a state of fasting. 102. The hypnotist and surgeon then proceed to lead the patient in a somnambulistic trance to his visions of lesions, as he had watched so many times. They also must make the patient realize fully that what he has seen is the condition as it exists in his body. They further explain the intricacies of the area. The following stage is to have the patient become cognizant of the fact that he, The patient is the sole driver of the antibody action phenomenon, making him feel that he is a superhuman and reminding him what he saw on video, and that he can now control the red or white cells and destroy the cancer or other alien infections or parasites, and control the levels of the red and white cells in case of leukemia. He is further taught how to surround, attack, and finally eliminate both the cancer cells and any accompanying infections. Because one's mind can wondrously affect bodily functions, it can, in this case, perform what no other technique can. In this manner, every form of illness or turpitude can be either corrected or completely cured. For this reason, we are apt to often conclude that faith can perform wonders bordering on the miracles. Because of our energy intelligence, the body so stimulated by mental means that can eradicate and fully eliminate any and all conditions harmful to good health. The key to the scenario is the know-how, the ability to control our minds over bodily functions and specific conditions. The baby's life is formed in the woman's womb. The woman gives an energy of, let's assume, 750, and the man of 1,000. So it will be a mass requiring a reincarnation of 1,750 positive divided by 2 equals 875 average purity of the soul, or energy intelligence. So those higher energy intelligence are really very difficult to be attracted back to this life. 103. The lower ones have more possibility to be recalled, because not every day is there a genius or saint born. In addition to our sorrow, bad and evil are overwhelming. Coming back to our process, that 1,750 divided by 2 equals 875 average purity of energy intelligence has the knowledge to incarnate a human form. But if the baby was conceived in a period that the woman had perturbed energy because of post-menstruation, or drugs, or rage, etc., the energy of the ovum will be perturbed and will not form properly, due to the fact that the energy, intelligence, or soul will send the information, but because the perturbed energy will receive wrong signals, the receiver being defective, and from that fact it could form a mongoloid, or a baby with one arm or 2 legs, joined together, or 2 babies sharing a common head. God forbid. Now, in the event that another person died and was a bad person, he could be reincarnated not in a human form, but in other forms of intelligence. The second energy, intelligence level, after human, is an animal intelligence. Form, that is a lower intelligence than human, but still can move, eat, and is influenced by the sun, rain, wind, etc. Then comes plants in general, that do not move by themselves and do not make decisions, but are influenced by the sun, wind, and water. The fourth form of intelligence is mineral, which is not influenced by sun and water, etc. It is known that all of the above are composed of atoms, and every atom is composed of protons, neutrons, and electrons. Like billions of solar systems from every entity, see Figure 8, 104. Everything has a level of awareness and a level of energy intelligence. If one lowers oneself during his lifetime to lower than 1% positive, there is no return, because after 50% positive turns to 50% negative, and the more negative one is, the lower the energy intelligence. The reason the Israelites were brought immediately out of Egypt is because they were in Egypt under slavery, and a great majority of them adopted Egyptian customs, like idolatry, and their level of purity of energy intelligence were at 51%, and one more degree of negativity would have made it impossible for Moses to save them from the world of Sheol. 51% positive, and one more degree of negativity would have been the last, with no possible return. Because even having a high degree of purity, it is hard to deny temptations. With more negative than positive, it's impossible. But don't misunderstand me. To be lower than 51%, one must be very bad. Not just denying the Creator, but to destroy GD's creation as killing or destroying for fun and feeling good about it. That's bad. Now, when on the two opposites, we have the Garden of Eden, or the purgatory, Seafig, Hasson. Let us expand on this subject. The spiritual Garden of Eden is in the endless light, thus forming unity with the Creator. I personally had NDE, near-death experience, in an accident that happened in Eilat, Israel. I was 9 years old and was in the army in Israel. I was with some friends during a few days' vacation from the army. We had decided to travel to Eilat, a city south of Israel, in the Sea of Reeds, the Red Sea. Further south, there is an island bordering the Sinai called E-Halmogam, E-105 Halmogam, or the Algae Island. At first, we started playing in the water, male and female soldiers. After a while, I started swimming toward the isle located about a mile from shore where we were. The current was very strong. At my age then, I was not concerned with the possible dangers. I thought nothing could happen to me. When I was a few hundred yards of the island, I felt a pinch in my calf. Due to the pain, I made a sudden move and cramped my leg. The pain was unbearable. I couldn't swim any longer. The current was very strong. I was tiring fast from trying to keep my head above the water, but the big waves made it impossible. I couldn't control the intake of water and started drowning. I was sinking fast and could barely see light above me anymore. I was panicking until my strength abandoned me. I was holding my throat, suffocating until I became, suddenly, in a state of awareness. I felt good and light. The water was there, but I didn't feel its wetness. I was very calm. I looked under me and saw my inanimate body holding its throat, but I didn't feel strange, nor cared for my sinking body below me. It was then that I saw a bright light. I felt pulled up to the surface, toward that light. I then was out of the water and kept going up in the sky. The strange thing was that I felt myself as part of the wind, as if I were transparent. I experienced all sorts of visions, but without feeling any emotions. All my life went by me, as if I was watching a movie. My life in a rerun. All my actions were in review. I felt a certain presence with me, but I did not see 106 anyone. The next vision was my family, parents and brothers dressed in black, mourning, following my casket, covered also in a black cloth with a Star of David in its center, layered in gold thread. I did not feel any emotions whatsoever. Getting a closer look at my parents' faces, tortured by the pain of my loss. At that same moment, I felt a pinch in my heart. Suddenly, I felt pulled down toward the sea. I then submerged, approaching at high speed my inanimate body that was in the depth of the sea. I was now in my body, fighting the storming waters, swimming upward with a sudden found strength. I could barely see light above me, but it grew rapidly. This brief moment seemed like an eternity, until I broke through the surface, gasping for breath, coughing and vomiting. Not far from me was one of my friends who saw me and grabbed me, until the others came and got me out. Judging by the distance, they were at least half an hour from me when my trouble started. Yes, my dear readers, Elle did die. The only feeling that made me return to this life was the suffering of my parents. I did not care for my body. I returned, because I was still attached to earthly emotions, my parents. From this you can understand Ekdat Yitzchak, Ekdat Yitzhak, the sacrifice of Isaac, Yitzhak by Abraham, Avraham. The latter was in a higher plane of awareness. In that level he did not feel as we do in this material world. He followed D's instructions without any earthly feelings,